So now let's look at some tips that are shortcuts. They help you quickly be able to do something, accomplish a task. Maybe you already know how to do it, but here's a quicker way to do it. So one of the things I like to show people first is the ability to use the Help menu here. And you click on the Help menu and you think, oh, you can bring up documentation on whatever it is you're doing, whatever app you're using, and you can search for documentation. But there's a much more useful thing you do with search. You can search for menu items. So for instance, let's go into TextEdit here and notice that I can look through things like the Format menu. You can see how many things there are in the Format menu here. Maybe I don't remember where something is. Where is the ability to make something subscript or superscript or something like that? I go into Help and immediately that cursor is blinking there. So I can just click there and start typing. So if I start typing super, you can see baseline superscript shows up as a menu item. I can actually move my cursor over it and it shows me where it is. Font, baseline superscript. And I can click on it here instead of clicking on it down there. Now it's even better once you realize you can do the Command key and the key with the question mark on it. It's actually the slash key. So Command slash will bring it up, bring up this Help menu here. I'm sorry, Command Shift slash, because it's the question mark you're supposed to be accessing. So Command Shift slash, and then I can do sub, and there's like substitutions. There's baseline subscript. I can arrow down here and hit return to use subscript. So the Help menu there is extremely useful. Command Shift space, or sorry, Command Shift question mark, type what you want to find, and we'll find it no matter how deep it's buried here in the menus. Now I already talked about how to switch between apps, right? Command Tab and you can go between all the apps. But how about windows in an app? You can certainly click on them to go between them. But if you Command and then use the tilde key, which in the American keyboards is the key right above the Tab key, Command and the tilde will switch between windows inside of an app. It's really handy, especially if you're working with a bunch of documents or a bunch of windows in Safari, some things like that. Now I mentioned hot corners. So what are hot corners? We'll search for it here. And you can see I actually can get to it in a few different ways. I'll go into Desktop and Screensaver and there's a button that takes you to hot corners. Hot corners gives you commands you can issue to 4 different corners of the screen. And what happens is when you put your cursor in that corner and wait for a fraction of a second, it will do one of these things like start screensaver, start mission control, go to Launchpad, or put the display to sleep. I always set my Macs so the bottom right hand corner is put display to sleep. And that means all I need to do when I get up to walk away from my Mac is I just use my mouse or trackpad and swipe down to the bottom right so the cursor's all the way at the corner and it will immediately put the display to sleep. Hot corners are very useful for that purpose and you should just check out what those are, maybe try them out because it's definitely one of the shortcuts that I use throughout the day. Now you can also create keyboard shortcuts and no doubt that's what most people think of when they think of shortcuts. If you go to System Preferences, go to Keyboard, there's a whole section here for shortcuts. And you can see all the shortcuts that are assigned for various different things that you can do. For instance, we saw screenshots. There were shortcuts there as well. If you click on the shortcut, you can actually modify it. You can click on it and then you can type the key and it will become a new shortcut. You can also turn these on or off if you want to disable a shortcut because maybe you find you're triggering it by accident. In addition, you can do something called app shortcuts and you can create your own. So you can hit the plus button, specify which application or all applications for that shortcut, then type the exact menu name. So for instance, if I look at the menu here, I could see Customize doesn't have a shortcut under View. I can type Customize and then 3 periods and that will become a shortcut for System Preferences View Customize. Let's try it. And I'll do Command Shift Option T and hit Add. Now when I look under View, you should see it. Let's look at it again. There it is, Command Shift O, because I forgot to do the dots. There you go. And now it should appear. There it is. It took a few seconds. I had to leave System Preferences to go back in. Now you can see that's a keyboard shortcut. Let's go back into keyboard shortcuts and you can see I can easily select this and then hit the minus key to delete it. So if it's a menu command somewhere in here, it doesn't matter how deep it is, you can create a shortcut for it. So for instance, in TextEdit, if I wanted to go to Format, Font, and something like Baseline, Superscript, all I need for the command is Superscript. I don't need any of that font or baseline. Just set Superscript to be a shortcut for something, and then we'd have it as a shortcut here. It's very powerful, and it's a great way to customize apps. It works across any apps that use a menu bar, which is just about everything except maybe some games or something like that. So here's one more shortcut I want to show you, and that involves using the dock. Sure, you can click on the dock to jump to an app. So here I'm jump to TextEdit, here I can jump to Calendar, but you can also control click on the icon there in the dock and you can see documents. You can see here are the 3 I have open, so I can jump right to one like that. And you also, in the case of TextEdit, are able to see recently opened documents. What you see here is going to vary depending upon the app. So some apps may show more or less. So here's like Acorn shows me the most recently edited files on Acorn. And some apps sometimes don't show it, but most of them do allow you to select a document, especially the documents that are currently open. So it's just a quick way to find if you have a ton of windows open. Go to the app, control click, and then you could find that window that you want.